Craig McKelsey is the managing talent manager and founder of CK Talent Management, and the agency ranks as #5 in the world, and one of the key players in talent management in Europe. Craig himself is ranked as one of the most influential talent managers in the world, and he has overseen the agency's expansion into emerging markets such as Africa, across Asia, and he has recently acquired a talent agency in Australia, so clearly world domination. We love that, and they represent a number of different talent, from the likes of superstar singers to bands to major actors to models, so a very sort of diverse range, even including Olympians and athletes. So his talent has appeared in many movies, including ones that have been nominated for Oscars, BAFTAs, Emmy Awards, and so forth. His clients include huge streaming organizations such as Netflix, Amazon. He's co-authored a number of manuals for the NCAA, and also elected the state representative for the amusement industry. It's representing the entertainment industry within his state. So welcome, Craig.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining us. Where are you at the moment? Are you in the US?
Yes, I'm on the East Coast of the United States. I'm in near Palm Beach, Florida, right now.
So America's been very much in the news. I mean, we're all obsessed following the election and all of the drama. I mean, who needs Netflix and entertainment where you just tune into CNN with all the drama happening in the White House? So Craig, back on topic, I wanted to talk to you about the talent management industry. I mean, obviously you know, this is your specialism, this is your area. I mean, how has the industry been impacted? You obviously have a you know, a macro and a micro perspective on this, impacted by COVID, not just the financial elements, but you know, how does it bode well for the medium term, long term future of the industry? Would love to have your thoughts on.
Thanks for introducing me in that nice introduction. I think it has impacted us, and I know it has impacted us financially. It's impacted talent agencies. Some agencies specialize in just representing actors, and so I know for just representing actors, it has impacted them and their bottom lines. Our agency a long time ago had diversified. So we not only represent actors, we represent influencers, we represent social media personalities. So those different industries have been impacted and not impacted in certain ways relating to financially, per your question of what you said. You know, I think talent have adapted. I've had talent who are actors that are now moving into the influencer realm. They've tried to reach out to their audience and keep their fan base in different ways. One of the platforms that we partnered with is called ShowPass, which is like the Ticketmaster of Canada. If you're in the United States, Ticketmaster is like the main ticketing organization that you buy your tickets from to large concerts and large performances. And so we partnered with Canada's large platform. We're actually the launch partner with them. And they are now starting to host these live events on their platform and selling tickets to those events. And some of our talent were the launch partners with this and doing the performances through that to continue to reach out to their fan base. But, you know, developing and evolving led to them looking at other financial revenue streams, while the other revenue streams have been shut down due to the pandemic. And so, you know, we have still closed deals for them, you know, financially, but, you know, they have adapted, you know, like most humans, we all have to adapt. We all get locked in, so we adapt to, you know, watching TV or watching Netflix or what have you, and that sort of thing. And so I think, as far as it financially, you know, impacting the industry, to answer your question, I know that mental health has been a big thing as well for our talent. Years ago, we started our own mental health program. We have on staff a licensed NHS, National Health Services psychiatrist, who works with our talent on a regular basis, because we realized years ago that the talent were getting rejected, and, you know, how to adapt and deal with that. So we already had that in plan. and in place in our agency already. So our talent were already used to speaking to those people and to those NHS licensed people in our agency. So we had a really in-house robust mental health plan. You know, one thing I did want to focus on was the fact that, you know, I find this very interesting, and I think it's more so in America than I'm seeing in the UK or in Europe right now, as far as television and movies and such like that, is that smaller production companies and talent that would normally not be seen on certain mediums are now getting attention. And one of the case studies my agency did was on a TV show called Cobra Kai. It's the Karate Kid series from the 80s, and now they've brought it back to Netflix. If you haven't seen it, that started off as a web series. Web series would never be looked at by studios or streaming services ever. They only would go to the big box production companies like Sony and Warner Brothers to provide their content. Now the content starvation is going on with the streaming services, and they have to keep the eyeballs on their streaming services. Now they're looking to other mediums, and other actors are emerging because they are on those mediums. And now they are reaching out to that. So that has forced Netflix and Amazon streaming and Hulu and all of them, because the larger places cannot, you know, have large productions going on. So now you're seeing the emergence of these things. You know, so a lot of that is going on. One of my talent is involved in a series called Deathless with a smaller production company. It now was bought by Amazon streaming services and is now on Amazon. And so they're going to ratcheting down to the lower levels where they would never look at to feed this content starvation, because they got to keep on feeding the dragon, which is feeding the viewership and keeping their subscribers entertained, or else they'll leave and go to other streaming services. So we've seen that in the industry as far as talent management and representation, and we've adapted to that. So web series and web shows now have been getting attention. Outer Banks was a very popular show in the United States, and for the teenage crowd from 15 to 20 something years old, that was a very lowbrow production. We have 2 talent on that show, and all this, and we kind of laughed at it when we booked our talent on the show. We're like, oh, nobody's going to see this kind of thing. Now it's the most popular show in the United States on Netflix. It's huge. You know, it's kind of very interesting to us that our talent are starting to be seen that would not be seen before. And our talent that are well known, they have reached out in other ways since their productions have been closed down. But the larger talent are able to adapt because they're paid millions of dollars to do a project. So them hiding out for a year or 2 is not really financially impacting them too much. It's more of the middle to lower level talent that are starting out that are feeling those pinches. But now they're being recognized by that as well. I'm a member of the Television Academy, and they've been reaching out to all of the membership. They're the ones that put on the Emmy Awards. I'm a member of the Television Academy in Arts and Sciences in LA. And they've been reaching out. They've been doing a good job. They've been trying to have seminars on Zoom and stuff like that. I'm also a member of Spotlight in the United Kingdom. And Spotlight over there, which is a breakdown platform over there for casting directors, they've been reaching out. They actually, I was on a panel with them about the impact in the industry with other talent managers and such in the United Kingdom and London. And that was very helpful to have Spotlight understand what we're going through, and they were then able to adapt their platform. So I think everybody's been reaching out, and everybody's been trying to find different ways to adapt in those different mediums. And, you know, that's kind of basically what a roundabout of what I've been seeing going on. You know, if you have any questions.
I just think it's wonderful how the talent has adapted, because I remember sort of growing up, and there was almost a stigma for somebody to sort of move from, I don't know, acting to to modeling and to others. And of course, creativity is very fluid. But yet, society was quite rigid, I don't know, a decade or two ago. But now the fact that you're saying that, COVID has sort of accelerated the ability for them to sort of seamlessly move from one to another, from sort of being an influencer to acting to various different platforms. I think that's positive.
And actors that wouldn't be seen are being seen now.
Yeah.
It's not just the Chris Hemsworths and the Angelina Jolies out there that are being seen, and then they're regurgitated in many different movies in many different formats. They're now going down and seeing the regular actors that their concepts are. And what's very interesting, that I did tell a magazine the other day that I was being interviewed by, Digital Magazine, a digital platform magazine that was interviewing me. I told them, guess what industry has not stopped working during the pandemic? The writing industry, the writers. The writers are writing all this content at home, still getting paid, writing next season's episodes of your favorite TV series. When they come back to film, you're going to have a whole bunch of booking problems and a whole bunch of booking conflicts when the pandemic is over, and it's going to be a shortage of actors to fill roles. And they're going to have to go down. It's going to force the industry to readjust and look. And I told this to a digital magazine a guy the other day, and he was shocked that I said that. And he said, I don't think anybody's thinking about that in the industry, about what a shortage of actors, because there's actors now getting out of the industry and just going and working at Starbucks and leaving the industry altogether. There's going to be a shortage in the industry of talent, and they're going to have to go down to the low levels. And the people that wouldn't be seen and become Chris Hemsworth or Zac Efrons, that would take 10, 20 years to get there, they're going to be accelerated, because there's going to be this need where Chris is in a movie, they're going to need somebody else to fill some TV show that he would have been on or some other project, and they're going to look for the next Chris Hemsworth, and it's going to have this readjustment in the industry. And I'm fascinated and waiting for that whole thing to arrive and happen. And I wanted to also say something to parrot what Harvey had said in his opening, if I may. When they uncover civilizations and go back and look at the Egyptians and wherever it is, the first thing those archaeologists look at is the cultural. They look at the cultural artifacts of that civilization. When they look at Rome, they go back and they look at the cultural aspects of that civilization. That's the first thing that they uncover. And so, parroting Harvey, if we lose culture because government is ignorant, that is a huge loss to the future of humanity in general, and the future of a fingerprint in time that will be overlooked. And I think that's so very important, and we are taught that in schooling. Even if we don't go into the arts, we are taught in school,
I agree.
This is Shakespeare time. This is what happened with the Romans and how they entertained themselves with the gladiators, or they put on performances. We are taught those things when they teach us in history class. It's not a cultural arts class. They teach us that in history class. And they teach us about the Great Wars, wonderful, but that's when they teach you about the wars, it's like kind of a footnote. But when they deal into the arts and the culture of it, they talk about the pottery, they talk about the hieroglyphics, going back to caveman times and how they entertained themselves. So I wanted to parrot and support Harvey on that. The other thing is that the World Health Organization, and I agree with Harvey on this, has been an absentee partner in this whole thing. They have been absentee.
Harvey been swapping notes before this call.
No, we haven't. Actually, it's the first time I met Harvey. But they have been vacant. They have been off the thing, and to look to them. And I'm speaking as somebody who used to work at the United Nations. I used to work for the advisor to the ambassador of Saudi Arabia at the United Nations.
Yeah.
And I worked in that whole industry, and I can see that that they are missing. And I'm surprised at the United Nations. I'm surprised that they are absenteeism and just letting the governments deal with this on their own.
Well, thank you, Craig. I think, in times of crisis, you really see, leadership or the lack of it. It becomes increasingly, apparent. So